You have big plans. You always have big plans. And somehow, nothing ever happens. You know the feeling. The sudden clarity at 11 p.m. where everything makes sense. The business idea that's so obvious you can't believe nobody has done it yet. The book you're going to write, the language you're going to learn, the version of yourself you're going to become. Starting Monday, you can see it clearly, completely. And then Monday comes and you don't start. You've called yourself lazy, undisciplined, someone who talks a big game but never follows through. You've wondered if something is fundamentally wrong with you. There isn't. You were built this way. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why, and why your brain has been quietly collecting its reward this whole time, without you knowing.
You get the idea. The business, the project, the goal, it doesn't matter what it is. In the first few days, the energy is real. You think about it constantly. You tell a friend. You imagine how it's going to go, who you're going to become when you've done it. And it feels incredible.
That feeling, that electric, anything is possible feeling, is real. It is produced by a real biological process happening in your brain. And here's the part nobody tells you. That feeling is also the reason you never start. Not despite the excitement, because of it. Your brain found a shortcut, and it has been using it against you your entire life.
Most people believe that motivation leads to action. You feel excited, you get inspired, and that energy carries you forward into actually doing the thing. But if motivation reliably produced action, you would have started already. You had the motivation, the excitement, the vision, and still nothing happened. The standard answer is discipline, willpower. The people who succeed just want it more. And there's some truth to that, but it misses something fundamental.
Your brain, before you've made a single decision, before you've taken a single step, has already processed your goal as partially complete. Not because you're weak, because your brain is running a reward system that was never designed for abstract future goals. And when you imagine achieving something, when you really see it, feel it, tell someone about it, that system fires. The reward arrives.
Not the reward for doing the thing, the reward for thinking about doing the thing. From your brain's perspective, those two things feel almost identical. That's not laziness. That's a biological system doing something it was never meant to do, in a world it was never designed for. To understand what's actually happening, we need to talk about dopamine. Think of dopamine as your brain's motivation engine, not a pleasure chemical. That's a common misunderstanding. Dopamine doesn't make you feel happy when you achieve something. Dopamine makes you want to pursue something. It's the fuel for seeking, striving, reaching. And it has one very important quirk. It fires in anticipation, not just in achievement. When you imagine a future reward, when you picture the goal completed, the life changed, your dopamine system responds measurably. Enough to feel like motivation. In the environment your brain was designed for, this was never a problem. If you spotted tracks while hunting, your dopamine fired, giving you the energy to pursue. But the only way to collect the actual reward was to act, to hunt, to work. Anticipation always led to action. There was no other way forward. But you can imagine achieving your goals in perfect detail. The finished book, the successful business, the transformed body with no physical effort at all. And your dopamine system, which has no way to tell the difference between imagined achievement and real pursuit, responds. It gives you the feeling of progress without any actual progress. But that's only the first layer. When your brain runs a vivid mental simulation of success, when you really see yourself achieving the goal, it activates many of the same neural pathways as actually doing the thing. The pride, the relief. I'm the kind of person who did this. Your brain generates a version of all of these during a vivid enough visualization. Remember that electric feeling from the opening? That's not just excitement. That's a partial simulation of achievement. Your brain ran the movie. It felt the ending. And in doing so, it took the edge off the hunger that would have driven you to act. And then there's the third piece. When you tell someone about your goal and they respond with enthusiasm, that's such a great idea. You should definitely do that. Your brain's social reward circuit fires. Think of it as your brain's approval system. In the environment your ancestors lived in, social approval wasn't just nice to have. It was survival. Acceptance by the group meant safety. So their positive response to your goal registers as something significant, something worth rewarding. That social reward, the validation, the feeling of being seen as someone with big ambitions, partially substitutes for the reward of actually achieving the goal.
So by the time you've imagined your goal, visualized achieving it, and told two people who responded enthusiastically, your brain has collected 3 separate reward signals, all without a single action taken. That's not weakness. That's your dopamine system doing exactly what it was built to do in a world that gave it far too many shortcuts.
So here's the question. If your brain is collecting its reward from the dreaming and the telling, how do you keep it hungry enough to actually start? Not by stopping yourself from dreaming, not by never telling anyone. What your dopamine system responds to is hunger. And hunger comes from one thing: not having collected the reward yet.
The people who consistently follow through don't visualize less, they visualize differently. Instead of imagining the goal achieved, the finished product, the transformed life, they imagine the process, the first step, the next obstacle, what they'll do when it gets hard. That shift keeps the dopamine system in pursuit mode rather than arrival mode. And the second piece, stop telling people your goal. Tell them your next action instead. I'm going to write a book, collects the social reward immediately. Their enthusiasm rewards the dream, not the doing.
I'm writing for 20 minutes tonight collects nothing yet. The reward only comes after you've done it. The hunger stays intact. This is almost embarrassingly simple, but it works because it's biological, not motivational. You're not trying to want it more. You're simply not giving your dopamine system its shortcut. You're keeping it in the mode it was designed for: pursuit.
Try it right now with whatever you've been meaning to start. Don't picture it finished. Picture the first 20 minutes. What are you doing specifically? What's the first obstacle you'll hit? Notice the difference in how that feels. Not electric, slightly uncomfortable, maybe? That discomfort? That's your dopamine system in seek mode. That's hunger.
That's the feeling that actually precedes action. The dream doesn't need to disappear. It just needs to stay one step ahead of you, always just out of reach, always pulling you forward. Keep the gap open. Let's come back to the beginning. You have big plans. You always have big plans. Now you know why.
Your dopamine fires when you imagine the goal. Your simulation system runs the movie of success and generates the feeling of arrival. And your social reward circuit collects the approval before a single action has been taken. By the time you sit down to start, your brain has already been paid. Not fully, but enough. The people who seem to just do things, who decide and act, aren't more disciplined than you. They've just kept the gap open between wanting and having, between imagining and achieving. That gap, the space of unsatisfied wanting, is not a problem to be solved. It is the engine. You were never lazy. Your brain was just very, very good at finding reward in a world that made it too easy to collect.
You don't have a discipline problem. You have a dopamine system that found a shortcut. And now that you see the shortcut, you can stop taking it. That's Built Human. A new behavior decoded every week. See you next time.